Hi, welcome to our video on endurance sports and nutrition. We get a lot of questions from endurance athletes, and we thought we'd try to answer some of them on our video. Our first question: what are the implications of the dietary principles you've talked about for endurance athletes? The implications really are profound. I remember working some 25 years ago. I used to run a lot, and I was running with a club here in Connecticut, and one of the runners was a 35 or 36-year-old guy who had done some good, strong running and had actually come close to winning a couple 10K races. I mentored him in nutrition, became my patient, started following these dietary principles, and within 6 months he was running 10Ks, 10K a area class elite runner will run in 32 or 33 or 34 minutes. He had shaved a couple minutes off his time in six months. I've seen that in a number of athletes I've worked with. I worked with an NBA referee whose knees were giving out and he couldn't keep up with the players going up and down the court refereeing. Got involved in these nutritional principles and got a few more years out of his career that he didn't expect to get. I've seen a number of athletes perform better when they follow these nutritional principles. I don't have as much experience as I might like to in that area. I'd welcome the opportunity to work with more athletes on their endurance, but I'm convinced that that this kind of nutrition has a profound effect. I know from studying Weston Price's work that the things that the native people he studied did that were absolutely routine seem astounding to us today. The feats that they were able to do. I mean, an Eskimo man running out of food in the middle of the winter and going out of the igloo and long winter night where there's no light for months at a time and strapping himself into a kayak and going out in the choppy Arctic seas and hunting a walrus down in the dark of night and hauling it home. I mean, things like that. Right, so endurance athletes would do well to learn about this kind of nutrition, and particularly what supplements can be used to complement their nutritional regime. Next question. Endurance sports. Does this tie in with recovery from surgery, trauma, or illness? What supplements are most relevant? That is a great question too. Again, people recover from problems so much better when their nutrition, or illness, when their nutrition is strong. I've seen people with broken bones that weren't healing properly until they got involved in this kind of nutritional program. I've seen people on their way to surgery who began a careful program and use of certain supplements. I always recommend bovine cartilage, which is something not on our website but that we have for people who call to order it. A bovine cartilage supplement as a pre-surgery supplement. It used to be in surgery textbooks back in the 1950s when they thought about nutrition a little bit in those circles as something that should be taken before surgery and after surgery as a way to heal better from surgery. Bovine tracheal cartilage, which we use. People recover much more rapidly, go through surgery much more easily, recover much more rapidly when they're using strong nutrition and the right supplements. Absolutely no question. The next question that we received: are there any special recommendations for wheelchair athletes or other people with disabilities? You know, I thought about this long and hard, and I think there really are no special recommendation. Wheelchair athletes, people with disabilities, they're like everybody else in that their nutritional needs are the same. And superior nutrition will have the same kind of effect on them that it will on everybody else. They'll be able to perform better. Perhaps it's even more important for them because they are starting from a place that's more difficult. They're challenged and they need all the energy that they can get to deal with their challenges. So maybe it becomes more important in that sense to use the kind of nutrition I'm talking about and it's complemented by the right supplements. But really, it's the same principles that apply to everyone, and that's why I recommend these things for everyone, wheelchair athletes included. Any questions about that or follow-up?
What is a good dietary plan for someone who is in a vigorous training mode?
The one thing that really changes in a vigorous training mode is the need for more calories. And the calories thing is usually approached by super high carbohydrates in the diet, and I disagree with that completely. Person in a vigorous training mode needs more fat. It's even more important to realize that the healthiest diets are some 60 or 70% of the calories coming from animal fat. Now, there's lots of vegetables in there too, especially your green vegetables and your salads, but there's lots of animal fat. Lots of animal, and that's where the extra calories come from. I remember in 1982, the guy who won I was running a lot then, and the guy who won the Olympic marathon was a 40-year-old Spanish banker. This was back in the years before the marathoners were all full-time runners and didn't do anything else. This guy worked in a bank and went out and ran 15 or 20 miles every evening, and they asked him what his favorite food was. And this was in the middle of the carbohydrate loading, and everybody was multi-carbohydrates. And he looked at the interview and he said, steak, right? Well, he was onto something, right? So you can do it. You need more food of all kinds when your calorie needs are high, and you need lots of quality protein, sure. But quality protein, the best kind, comes with lots of fat. Fatty meats like lamb and fatty steaks, and I mean, eggs are great. I'm not an endurance athlete anymore. I'm a kind of retired from a lot of that stuff. But I'll sit and eat 6 or 8 or 10 eggs in the morning. Of course, eggs are very fatty. The yolk is all fat, so it's a high-fat breakfast. And follow it up with some lamb chops for lunch with some fresh vegetables and with lots of butter. So lots of fat, I think, is the key there as far as the nutritional needs. And the fat will come with lots of quality animal protein.